So why did you start writing this book?
Well, I originally started writing Free Bird as for my kids. You know, my kids are 10 and 12 now, and I was told that, you know, if something happened to them, they really wouldn't remember me. So I started writing life lessons that I learned on and off the field with them in mind. A friend of mine who's a writer got hold of it and said, "Hey man, this needs to be published. It needs to be a book." I thought he was joking. I'm like, I'm a baseball player. I'm not a writer, you know. So he started laughing. He said, "Well, let me shop it around." The next thing you know, I had a book coming out with Simon and Schuster called Free Bird.
What was the hardest thing or thing that you didn't understand that this was going to be about writing a book?
There was a few hard things. One was just to put myself out there. You know, I talked about the HGH thing, talked about temptations to cheat in baseball, and then I talked about a struggle that I've had with pornography. I've tried to balance that with the fact that I'm a Christian and bring that into the mix. I didn't want to be so politically correct that you didn't know Paul Byrd if you read the book, but I also didn't want to beat people over the head with the Bible and make everybody feel the way I feel. I think that's very unattractive. So I had to juggle all that too. So having that come out on paper, being a baseball player by trade and me personally writing all of it, you know, was very difficult. The other thing was just working with editors and kind of shaping that up and having to fight for a lot of things that are in the book, because it's not your normal Christian journal. It has a few, you know, curse word or two in there. It talks again about the pornography, talks about, you know, potential drug abuse and things like that. So it's all in there.
And at the end of the day, you know, you finish. Were you happy? Was it a relief? Okay, was it? I'm happy the way it came out.
Yeah, I was very happy with the way it came out. You're never gonna, you know. There's things that you may have changed or say, you know, I didn't really mean exactly that sentence the way it came out, but I'm told that's going to happen the rest of my life, and I'm told you just write and express yourself where you're at the time. I've done that, so I'm real pleased with that. I've gotten some really good emails back from some people that say that it's really changed their life and really helped them out in certain areas. And one email in particular I got was from a guy who really said that it turned his life around. He was involved in some sexual sin, and said it turned his life around and saved his marriage. And when I got that email, you know, that was enough for me to write the whole book right there. So it really meant something to me, and something when I look at it, I smile.
What was the hardest part to write about?
Part about my father was the hardest thing to write about. Chapter 7, really big on fatherhood. I think baseball's about fatherhood. I think it's about family. I think it's about teaching people about life. You know, baseball's a great game. And, you know, my father has struggled with certain things. I love my father to death. He was a tough guy, though. You know, he was a police officer in Louisville during the civil rights area. It was pretty difficult on me. And I relate how I struggled to relate to God because of the way I was raised and because of my dad. My dad spent a lot of time with me out on the baseball field, but had his issues. So for me to communicate that in a balanced way, I didn't want to sell my father out, and yet I wanted to reveal the fact that, you know, life's not a box of chocolates all the time, and you know, there's some trouble. So it's one of those things where when I put that on paper, it was a lot of tears. It's the very first chapter I wrote. For the most part, it's pretty raw and unedited.
When you got the book in your hand, was that kind of a cathartic moment for you?
Yeah, man, the first time I got it, you can get all the electronic emails and the chapters you want and put it all together on your Microsoft Word document. But when you look at it in a book format, you see your name attached to it, you open pages with numbers. It's just an electrifying feeling. It was like the first time I got called up to the big leagues. You know, I got chills.
Yeah. Are you going to ever write another book, or is this?
I think so. I may write a few other things, you know, not biographies anymore or journals, but it'll be, you know, more things of lessons that I've learned and things that you know, things that have been taught to me, I guess, on and off the field. So I think I got another book or two in me. We'll see how this one does.
All right.